Okay, so this is an attempt at a video to show Year 11 students how they could begin to access the second task in the homework booklet, which is an essay planning exercise for Romeo and Juliet. So we're on page 5 in the booklet. When you get a question, probably the best place to begin is actually the question itself, and in this case it says, consider how Shakespeare presents obsession in the play, and you are required as always to talk about something that's in the extract and something that is in the play as a whole. And at least for my group, we're going to go for 2 peels in the extracts and 2 peels from the gold quotations for the rest of the play. I know the booklet says 3 and 3, but we'll begin with 2 and 2, at least in this case. So if we think about the word obsession, it's not a word that would immediately leap out when we think about Romeo and Juliet, but what does obsession mean? Well, you know, one might say that you put everything else aside when you're obsessed with something. We can sometimes say that we're passionate about something. You know, we might say, oh, you know, I'm obsessed with that band, I'm really passionate about them. Obsession can affect behaviour, and it can affect words, obviously actions, and of course judgments. You'll have to forgive my writing, it's not the most user-friendly. So we have those. If we're passionate about things, we might be committed to them. That's also a word that we could think about. So what we're trying to do here is build analysis words that we can use later as we're analysing the language and analysing the peel, creating our peels, my apologies. I suppose the other question is, you know, why has the examiner picked the word obsession? So in my mind, I sort of think, well, the obsession in this play is to do with love. Okay, obviously the love of Romeo and Juliet for each other. It rides out everything else. And I probably just have one eye on the idea of the Montagues and the Capulets, because that obsession with the rivalry is key. Okay. So, having done that, we're going to then read the extract, which I'm not going to do in full. That's your job as part of your homework to do that. But what we're doing when we read an extract is we're trying to remember where it is. So in this case, we know that it's out on the balcony. At this point, Romeo has just met Juliet, or vice versa. We might have an echo of Rosaline here, because Romeo just at this point is just sort of interested in falling in love. So it seems it's very much, perhaps at this point, a physical attraction. So we have to place that extract. There's a lot to come at this point, that their whole love follows. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes in the exam extracts you will see one of our sort of gold quotations. And here we have one, because we have Juliet as the sun, arise fair sun and kill the envious moon. So that idea of celestial imagery, again, if you look to pages, let me just check, pages 2 and 3 in your homework booklet, that is there. So obviously in an exam, if you can spot a gold quotation that you already know, you've got a peel ready made. You know, you don't need to look elsewhere. But nevertheless, I think there are some other things that we would perhaps want to focus on. Excuse me, I'm just going to get a different colour highlighter. So we read on. You won't necessarily know every word and every phrase. You might recognise where it's from, but I'm drawn perhaps to the bottom, where at one point Romeo says, as a winged messenger of heaven, as is a winged messenger of heaven being over my head. The thing that I'm noticing there is, you know, as is, as a, or like a, and that to me is immediate simile action. You know, a messenger of heaven, a winged messenger, obviously that is suggesting that she is angelic. Okay, so we have that. Now again, with a micro quotation, you might look for a word to analyse from that area. It doesn't always have to be from the direct quotation though, and I think here I would perhaps think about wondering eyes. Okay, so that adjective wondering suggests that Romeo, you know, wants to know more. And you know, he's amazed by what's above him, and that physical obsession that exists, because you know, there is physical